Good day everyone and welcome to Poser's Full Recaps. Our today's story is about a young woman who has a teleportation power and gets obsessed with a superpowered teenager and takes it to the extreme. In an economics class field trip to the Luther Corp headquarters in Metropolis, Lionel Luther, the owner of the corporation, is giving an inspirational talk to the high school students. He states that the traditional rules of supply and demand are just secondary, because to rise above those rules, a person needs to know when to break them, and it requires absolute personal commitment, which is a prerequisite for success. Chloe sarcastically tells Clark that what Lionel said is considered despicable, immoral, and possibly illegal, since she's aware of some of the businessmen not-so-legal activities. The teacher notices the sarcastic exchange of comments between Clark and Chloe, so she separates the two of them during the elevator ride. In the next elevator car, Clark rides with one other classmate, the pretty blonde shy girl named Alicia Baker. As they are riding down to the headquarters lower ground, the elevator cable snaps and it begins to free-fall down the shaft. Since Clark is secretly a superpowered teenager, he uses his heat vision to burn out the security camera. He then punches through the wall of the elevator and grabs a pipe to stop it from falling. A surprised Alicia looks at him in wonder, and Clark asks her not to tell anyone when the elevator stops. Suddenly, the rescuer's voice echoes inside as they try to pry the elevator open, and the two nervously looks at each other. Alicia moves closer to Clark and touches his shoulder, and the two disappear in a cloud of green smoke and reappear on the ground floor unharmed. This time, it's Clark looking at Alicia in wonder, who also asks him not to tell anyone. The next day at school, Clark approaches Alicia to thank her for saving both of them from exposing their abilities. He asks how the girl gets her powers, and she shares that she has been able to teleport since the meteor shower when they were young. When Alicia asks him back, the young man explains that all the superpowered humans in their town started during the meteor shower, and so has he. In that instant, the two seem to develop some kind of connection due to their shared secret abilities that they both hide. At the local coffee shop, Clark's friend Lana finds a diary inside her new tenant's apartment on the second level of the building. It details what she and Clark have done in the past few weeks, and when Adam arrives, he catches her snooping. She confronts him as it is an invasion of privacy, so she threatens to evict him, but the man refuses to leave. He coolly reminds her that it is not that easy to evict someone and that she should check her tenant laws. Meanwhile, Clark is able to get up his nerve to ask Alicia on a date, which the girl graciously accepts. In the hallway, Lana tells Clark about Adam's journal and Clark offers her to talk to him. She refuses the offer, as she plans to ask their local millionaire friend Lex to get rid of her tenant. As they continue talking, Alicia greets them with jealousy in her eyes and leaves. Later that night at Clark's loft, he and Alicia are stargazing through his telescope and talk about being different. Alicia expresses her fear that if anyone discovers her secret, they might think that she's a freak. Clark assures her that he doesn't think of her as a freak and talks about their past romantic relationships. While dropping her off at home, she shares that her parents don't understand her, as they are very overprotective and used to try to keep her from using her teleportation abilities. The night ends with almost a kiss, but Clark is too shy, so they just say their goodbyes. Sometime later, Clark is shocked and Alicia appears in his bed in her underwear. Initially, he is reluctant to get frisky with her, but Alicia takes the lead and they start kissing. Suddenly, Jonathan bursts into the bedroom and Clark is left to explain to his parents exactly how the girl got into his bed. He tells them that Alicia got infected by the meteor shower and acquire a teleportation power. His parents are skeptical and don't think that dating Alicia is a good idea, and ask Clark how much he told her about his abilities. Clark is upset and tells them that he didn't mention his weakness on meteor rocks, but it turns out that Alicia is secretly listening to their conversation. Before she leaves, it pleases her to hear Clark announces that he thinks he's found someone with whom he can have a real relationship. The next day, Pete congratulates Clark on having a girl in his bedroom. He asks Pete how he finds out, and Pete replies that Alicia is not very discreet as Clark is. He then finds his locker lined with pictures of Alicia, while the girl suddenly shows up beside him. He suggests having a few boundaries on their blooming relationship, but Alicia is unimpressed with his proposal and states that people like them don't have boundaries and limitations. At Lex's mansion, Clark tells his friend about Alicia's clinginess, and Lex suggests that he might be encouraging Alicia by telling her what she wants to hear. He then decides to go to Alicia's house to talk to her, but her parents tell him that the girl is not at home. When he informs them that he is aware of her special abilities, her parents are reserved and show fear of their daughter's powers as they cannot able to control her at all. They mention a room lined with lead, and it is where they kept Alicia to stop her from teleporting. Before he leaves, Alicia's dad warns him to be careful, as their daughter once dated another boy and it didn't end well. After Clark is gone, Alicia suddenly shows up behind the door and confronts her parents of warning her supposed boyfriend. Later, Clark finds his loft completely redecorated by Alicia, who even put a picture of herself everywhere and scratched out a yearbook photograph of Lana. Suddenly, Alicia teleports behind him and he confronts her about invading his loft and adds that they are not officially dating. When her phone rings, someone informs Alicia that her father is in the hospital because he fell down the stairs. Clark takes her to the hospital but suspects that the girl did something to her father. Even the sheriff thinks that Alicia has something to do with the said accident, but when the sheriff questions her, Alicia starts to cry at Clark. He asks her if she harmed her father and Alicia admits that she did it for them. When the young man tries to urge her to talk to the sheriff, Alicia teleports away. When Clark returns home, he finds Alicia in his kitchen cooking dinner. He asks her to turn herself in, but the girl refuses and declares that as her boyfriend, Clark is supposed to be protecting her. She then slyly says that both their families will be safe, as long as Clark and she are together keeping each other's secret. Unsure of what to do with the girl, Clark visits Chloe and tells her what Alicia is capable of doing, and tries to figure out a way to lure the girl out. Chloe later goes to Alicia's house and makes up a story about Clark needing her, as the sheriff is blaming him for her father's injuries. Alicia finds Clark at an old warehouse and the young man tries again to convince her to turn herself in. Instead of listening to what Clark has been saying, she tells him that they should just run away together. Clark pretends to agree and tries to trap her inside a lead-painted room, but the girl quickly figures out his plan and uses a meteor rock to subdue him. She then threatens to hurt Lana, and leaves him incapacitated on the floor before walking away. Sometime later, Alicia arrives at the Talon and threatens Lana with a knife, while telling her that Clark told her all the secrets he would never tell Lana. She explains that once she eliminates her, Clark will love her completely without any distractions. Back at the warehouse, Clark is able to free himself from the effect of the meteor rock by kicking the lead paint over it, which muted the effects of the rock. He then uses his super speed and finds Alicia threatening Lana, so he throws lead paint at her, dousing Alicia to prevent her from teleporting away. At the farm, Lana came by to thank Clark for saving her and she asked about him telling Alicia his secret and not her. She also mentions that Clark is still in love with her according to Alicia, but before he can answer, his mother arrives and Lana leaves. Clark tells Martha that he feels like he will never have a meaningful relationship if he always has to lie about his abilities. He tries to get her to understand that his attraction to Alicia was based on the fact that he was able to be himself around her. When Lana arrives back at the Talon, she finds out that Adam is gone. She then thanks Lex for helping her, but the man says he had nothing to do with it and adds that his security people can't even find him. Adam's fate is revealed when he is shown strapped to a chair in a medical facility, and Lionel Luthor is seen walking into the room and asking him about his inability to uncover Clark's secrets. He sent him to Smallville to become Lana Lang's best friend and find out everything she knows about Clark Kent, but instead, he has alienated her completely. Lionel denies Adam the medication he needs, and cruelly leaves him strapped to a chair to die alone in the dark. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. You can also hit the notification bell and like the video to help the channel out. Thank you.